After several delays, Fast and Furious 9 is finally in cinemas and I finally got to see it with my eyes. On the television, Justin Lin, who directed Fast and Furious 3, 4, 5 and 6, returns to direct this 9th installment and also co-writes this movie. And in this film, the crew have to go up against Dom's brother Jacob, played by John Cena, who is now working with the previous film's villain Cypher. So the team ignore the laws of physics, make a few quips and team up with a familiar rapper. Clearly a cash grab. I love the Fast and Furious movies. I've been a fan of this series since about a year, I think. I've binge watched all of them, including Hobbs and Shaw, and I've enjoyed them a lot. And when I heard they were going to do a 9th one, I was really hyped to see how good that one was going to be. The plot was actually leaked, I think, last week, so I read through it. I could have used that as my review, but I wanted to see how it would play out on the big screen. And judging by the reviews, fans and audiences and critics have been very divisive about this movie. And there's so many things that I really need to let out in this review. So therefore, this review is going to be spoiler filled, but not too many spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, go and watch it and then come and see this review. If you have seen the movie, let's talk about it. The thing I can say is that this movie looks visually impressive. The action, the cinematography, the practical effects all work for me. It proved that Justin Lin can direct some really great action, and I'm actually surprised they can actually pull off some of this after 20 years now. I do have one problem with the action, but we'll get onto that in my negatives. There is also some great acting in the movie. Vin Diesel, as always, is great in his role as Dominic Toretto, but John Cena kind of stole the show for me. I liked his rivalry with Vin Diesel, and I feel like he's a decent replacement for The Rock. Is he the best villain in the franchise? No, he's not. I prefer Deckard Shaw from Fast and Furious 7 and 8. I think Cypher, who returns in this movie, may be a tad better, but I don't like the idea how she's always escaping her deaths. It's like no one in these movies die, and we're going to get into that in my negatives. There's also a lot of great characters, new characters and old ones, like you got Lucas Black and his whole Tokyo Drift crew back, and you've got Helen Mirren and Michael Rooker as well. And Cardi B, let's talk about her. This was one I was really curious to see. I mean, I like actors in movies, especially rappers. Will Smith and Ice Cube have done a great job with that, but then you got musicians like Dr. Dre in Training Day, where he's chewing gum and speaking fast.
Who's this?
Jay Coyd, it's my first day in the unit. I'm from Valley Patrol.
You a long way from Starbucks, homie. Man, why in on this?
Gotta get a cherry pop sometime.
Look, man, stick out of my way, alright?
But Cardi B did okay. Not the best, but definitely not the worst. I think that Cardi B's a cash grab though, because this movie has already made $300 million. Could this be because of Cardi B's appearance? I honestly don't know, but let's move on to the rest of the film. I also like how this movie pays homage to the Fast and Furious franchise. For example, there's a particular scene in the final battle which really honors and pays homage to the final scene in the first movie, you know, where Brian lets Dom go. That was a really nice callback and it made me smile because I respect the first movie. Alright, those are my positives for Fast and Furious 9. Now let's move on to the negatives. First off, the returns of Mia and Han. Now, as all of you know, Han was a character in the franchise who was killed at the end of Fast and Furious 6. But he's back, he's alive, and he's not dead. And what really annoys me is that this movie didn't explain how Han died, how he escaped. Even though they did, it was pretty rushed. And as for Mia, well, I understand her inclusion, but in 7, due to that obvious tragedy off screen, they had to rewrite that ending and have it feel like Brian and Mia are never going to come back. They were gone for good. So when you do watch that beautiful ending in Fast and Furious 7, it won't really mean that much. But on a more positive note, I like how they gave her more action and her chemistry with Letty was surprisingly great, especially since these two characters have not interacted in these movies for ages. I don't think they ever have. My next complaint is the action. Even though it's great, it's way too over the top. Now, I love how the action is over the top in these movies, as I thought street racing was kind of boring, but they still had a sense of realism. I think that they were being a bit silly with the action, which kind of disappointed me, especially with that obvious space sequence that was in the trailer. If they toned it down a bit, I would have been more happier with the action, but nevertheless, the action was just okay. And my final complaint is about the ending, but it's quite spoiler heavy, so I won't really mention. I want you guys to tell me about it in the comments. So overall, I enjoyed Fast and Furious 9 a lot, but narrative wise, I do think it could have been a lot more better. and the action could have been improved. But if you just want to see a movie that feels like summer, I would recommend going and seeing Fast and Furious 9. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's not as good as Lost 2. When you compare it to 7 and 8, it kind of feels inferior, but it does its job well. It's an enjoyable action movie, and I'm curious to see what they do with the 10th and 11th, as they're going to be shot back to back. It's going to be like Infinity War and Endgame, but better. Let's hope that they deliver on that. So guys, thanks very much for watching. As I said, sorry for my lack of content recently. I had exams, but now they're over, so I'm going to be posting more constantly, so stay tuned. So if you have seen Fast and Furious 9, let me know what you thought about it down below, and let me know what you want to happen in the 10th and 11th. I don't have any ideas, but hopefully the studio will come up with ideas. I just really want Hobbs to come back for that one. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe so that you'll catch more content of movies, games and TV shows. And I'll catch all of you next time with another video. Peace.